And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Our phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Don't forget, it's our 50 for 50 celebration this Saturday at Dave & Buster's from 4 to 6. We invite you to stop by for a live broadcast. We'll be celebrating my 50th birthday. In addition to that, we will be taking a look at, how we can help the Boise Rescue Mission. For more details, go to KIDOTalkRadio.com. We would love to see you there this Saturday as we get on the mic and have a great time and ask you to bring a non-perishable item to help our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go live to Washington, D.C. Julia Seymour joining us from the Media Research Center's business office. She's the assistant and managing editor there. Julia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm sorry I'm going to miss that party. It sounds great.
Well, it's at Dave & Buster's, so
yeah.
we'll definitely save you some cake. And speaking of cake, my goodness,
Yeah.
how would we describe the coverage here of the Dow going up, the Dow going down? It's like the sky is falling.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And what makes it so bad is that they didn't want to cover it when it was climbing. You know, once the Dow dived by nearly 666 points on Friday, it got plenty of attention. In fact, it got 33% more coverage from the three network evening news shows than their combined coverage of Dow 25,000 and Dow 26,000, which happened last month. So clearly they want to talk more about bad news than good news. But I also found in a separate analysis that the networks, those same three shows, between January 1st of last year and that most recent record in January of this year, censored, as in did not say a word about 75% of record closing highs on the Dow.
How dangerous is this under or misreporting?
Well, you know, I think they're just doing it's a terrible disservice. It's bad journalism. They all need to do some math, for one thing, and provide appropriate context. Panicking, which is more what the coverage began to look like on Monday of this week, is not helpful to anyone. I mean, the vast majority, investment experts are always telling people, you don't invest in volatile markets unless you're in it for the long haul. So scaring people into thinking that they shouldn't have their money there is not helpful. But it also just lacks context. The Friday dip was 2.5% drop. And they were, focused on it because it was a huge number. It was a point loss that sounded really big. But in percentage points, Mike Santoli of CNBC said it was the 599th largest percentage loss of all time. That wasn't the kind of context you were getting on ABC, CBS, and NBC News.
Well, Julie, I think they're trying to put this into the self-fulfilling prophecy where, if they can report so much bad news that the public will believe it. And we do see that with a lot of folks that either don't have time to think critically about these things or would rather just peace out and just take the networks and the newspapers and the digital folks' word for it and not question what they're seeing.
Well, we all have to see live. It's really difficult if you have to also then take the time to sort your news and find out if it's accurate. Like, right. Nobody has time for that except the Media Research Center, which is why I do it for you.
You should be in radio with those type of lines. But and you're right about that. For years, the Media Research Center has done this. But we see this with a lot of folks that, are digital natives. They'll see some headline and they'll take it as fact. They won't give the president the benefit of the doubt because Kanye West or someone else says he's a bad person without any facts to back it up.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of what frustrates me, I think, is that so many things get said and, just in sound bites, and it goes out there and people take it and run with it rather than trying to get the story or looking for nuance, because guess what? A lot of things require nuance. And that's not how they get talked about, particularly in politics.
Indeed. Where do we expect to go from here?
Oh, that is not my territory. I have no idea. We saw the Dow up again yesterday by more than 500 points, which as a point, as a number of points, that was actually a big number. But the networks didn't want to spend as much time on it, of course, as they had on the drop. But no, I don't know what the markets are going to do. I just know that the media are probably going to continue to get this wrong, and I am going to continue to hold them accountable.
Well, we appreciate that, but finally, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, what can people do to get themselves informed?
Well, I think when it comes to stocks, don't assume that the journalists are giving you all of the context. And if it comes to your personal, how you're investing your money, go talk to someone who knows something about that. Don't rely on the news to give you advice.
Yeah, sadly, that's the way it is. As Sean Hannity says, journalism is dead. Julia, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Julia Seymour joining us from the Media Research Center. General Kelly has been in the news lately. He's been talking about DACA and everything else and the FISA warrant and the FISA court. Let's hear what he has to say here at KIDO Talk Radio. Oh, well, once again, it's not working. I guess I'll have to get the computer. Do we have the number for the Geek Squad here? Can we call the Geek Squad? I hate it when that happens, and it's embarrassing when I try to pitch it to you and the computer locks up. But we'll see what we can do here at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Now, the Democrats are all about this new memo. They're saying, look, we've really got Donald Trump this time. We've got the memo, and we're going to prove that Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. And you're thinking to yourself, doesn't this kind of remind you of the coyote and the roadrunner, where the Democrats are the coyote and they never really catch the roadrunner, right? Let's hear from General Kelly.
Well, it's different, and so not leaning towards it will be done in a responsible way. But again, this is where the first one was very clean relative to sources and methods. My initial cut is this one is a lot less clean.
Indeed, of course, General Kelly in hot water for talking about the DACA folks. We are searching for that comment, and apparently a lot of people are upset with General Kelly because he echoed the comments that we talked about. And we said, now there are people that had not signed. There are dreamers that have not signed up for DACA, more than the 1.8 million people, and they want to get citizenship too. In fact, they feel entitled to citizenship. They believe it is their birthright because they were born here. And you're thinking to yourself, whatever happened to the rule of law? And yet John Kelly basically calls them lazy. Calls them lazy, and then you have somebody on, the NBC nightly news last night, a millennial dreamer, getting upset because they were too lazy and too afraid to sign up for DACA. It's just crazy. Let's see if we have this story here. By the way, phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And it's the faux outrage business that we seem to be in again and again and again. And what these folks are trying to do is to go after, General Kelly and everything else. But in reality, if you don't sign up for something, it's like the Real ID, the Star driver's license. You can keep your driver's license, and then you're going to have to get a passport, or you just will never leave the state of Idaho because of this, right? You'll never get to leave the state of Idaho. Those are just the rules. The rules are the rules are the rules. Now, if you want to have your driver's license, if you want to do certain things, well, then you're going to have to, be compliant. And if you don't, why in the world would we sit back? Why in the world would we sit back and allow this to happen and allow people just to kind of make up the law? But again, it gets back to Kelly's comments. He's saying that some dreamers were too lazy and too afraid to sign up for DACA. Well, if you did not sign up, then there you go. People are going crazy about this, but this is what really endears General Kelly and Donald Trump to the real America that still exists, that the left is trying to eradicate. And that is basically saying that, this is how it is. How many more, what do you want to call it, things are we going to make here? How many times are we going to keep giving people attaboys and saying, well, we'll extend this deadline, and then we'll extend this deadline for your families? It doesn't make sense. And if anything taught us, the election of Donald Trump taught us, was that actions in reality have consequences, right? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
March 5th, will the president consider extending the program?
I doubt very much.
Why is that?
Because the program is not found on any, the original Obama administration, Mr. Obama established the program, and it was considered to be unconstitutional, not based on any law. So the extension, I'm not so sure this president has the authority to extend it.
So is he ready to start deporting people on March 6th?
Well, I mean, we deport people.
DACA people.
No. Again, the priorities for deportation, first and foremost, is a legal justice process. And the thing that gets you into that process is if, generally speaking, you're A, here illegally, and then B, you come on the scope of law enforcement, read ICE or CBP. So let's take the person who is here illegally, working, behaves him or herself. That person never comes on to anyone's scope. That said, if the person is a convicted felon or has a lot of serious misdemeanors, they come on the scope. And the ICE, the men and women of ICE, focus on individual.
Right, and John Kelly's right about that. It was funny because we have so many people trying to take the side of MS-13. MS-13 are thugs. They're thugs. And yet everybody else is saying, well, we need to, give them the benefit of the doubt. Are you kidding me? No, not at all. I just sit back and go, how in the world could the libs, how in the world could anybody else take the side of one of the most deadliest gangs from El Salvador that has infiltrated the United States of America and give them the benefit of the doubt that have terrorized families across the country? It's just funny how partisan politics will permeate throughout our society when it comes to, smacking the president. Anyway, that's the big story of the day at 580-5436. General Kelly saying, well, they're lazy. Coming up next, we'll talk a little bit more about the memo and get your thoughts as well about a DACA deal. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And Kevin Miller in the morning, blessed to be a part of your day. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Representative Jim Jordan telling our own Neil Cavuto, it looks like the Obama-era DOJ did not disclose pertinent information, like they ended their relationship with Christopher Steele and that a campaign had brought the infamous dossier before they presented it before a FISA judge to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump officials. If you caught Sean last night with Newt Gingrich, I mean, essentially you had, and this is how the former speaker explained it to Sean at KIDO Talk Radio, is that you had this Russian spy paid by the Clintons, went to the FBI. They said you need to massage it a little. So he massages it a little, gets Michael Isikoff to write a story about it. They take it to a FISA judge. He looks at the story, goes, well, there's something to it, and that's how it all began. Now, that seems to be like a real-life smoking gun to me, as opposed to what we're seeing and what we're hearing about Trump colluding with the Russians. Here's Jim Jordan on KIDO Talk Radio with our own Neil Cavuto.
Maybe, but look, more important to me is, did top people at the FBI engage in behavior they're not supposed to engage in the United States of America? Namely, did they take a disproven, salacious document and make that the basis to get a warrant, a secret warrant, at a secret court on a fellow American citizen? And it sure looks like they did. And when they did that, it looks like they didn't tell the court pertinent and important information, like who paid for it, like the fact that they discontinued their relationship with Christopher Steele, the author of that document. So to me, that's more important, or most important, when you think about fundamental liberties we're supposed to enjoy in the United States of America.
Congressman, there had been much talk about eventually getting this Democrat memo out, which apparently disputes the Republican memo. Where does that stand?
Well, I think they're moving in that direction tonight. There's a House Intelligence Committee meeting this evening. Maybe they'll vote to make that public going forward. Of course, then it would have to follow, my understanding is it would have to follow the same process, go to the White House, and the president is ultimately responsible for whether he declassifies it and lets it come forward. I'm all for that. Transparency is a good thing. I called for it 7 weeks ago when Christopher Wray was in front of the Judiciary Committee. I said, show us the application, show us the actual FISA application so we can know for certain what exactly happened. Of course, they're not willing to do that, but a couple people have been able to see that application. One of those individuals was Congressman Gowdy, and he was one of the chief authors of the memo we got last week, which lays out what they did wrong.
But Congressman Gowdy also said none of this means the president's off the hook with Bob Mueller. That separate investigation. What did you think of that?
Well, I mean, Mueller's got his investigation. He's going to go through with that. What I do know is this. To date, not one bit of evidence to show any type of coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia to influence the election. But we know just as sure as you and I are talking that there was the Clinton campaign paid the law firm, who paid Fusion, who paid Christopher Steele, who paid Russians to do what? Get information to influence the election.
And much more coming up from Representative Jordan right here exclusively on KIDO Talk Radio, your home for Fox News on the radio here in the Treasure Valley. Kevin Miller with you. KIDO Talk Radio time is 6:20. And we continue on with Representative Jim Jordan breaking this down for us. And again, he's on the House Judiciary Committee. He's one of the founding members, along with Congressman Labrador, of the Freedom Caucus.
And what did we also learn? His work product, Christopher Steele's work product, was taken to a secret court to get a secret warrant to spy on a fellow American, and we know that work product was salacious and unverified. Jim Comey's words, not mine. That is a problem. So we know all that. Mr. Mueller, if he's going to continue his investigation, so be it. What I'm focused on is getting the truth and reforming this FISA process that I think was terribly abused.
Congressman, among some of the nerve-wracking factors for the traders today, and it's easy to point to this like a Monday morning quarterback, is this notion that we're going to have another continuing resolution, I believe our fifth, to keep the government lights on, so to speak, but that dealing with the immigration, the DACA thing, that could be delayed another year, and it was a frustrating, bit of news, and maybe weighed on stocks. I think that's a leap, the latter point, but what do you make of that?
Well, and it could be even more fundamental than that, Neil. It could be the fact that we're getting ready to run $1 trillion deficit this year. Yeah. It could be the fundamentals like our debt-to-GDP ratio is 1-to-1.
Good point there by Congressman Jim Jordan. Let's go to the phones with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Sean in Nampa, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin.
Hey, Sean.
I keep hearing this about what the stories are for the FISA warrant. Everybody has this shock value. Well, the shock's over. You need to hear the indictments. I have to tell you, if I was on the other side of the fence, always trying to figure out how to put Trump to collusion with Russia, one iota of evidence, it would have tried for indictment immediately. Yet we keep talking about how shocked we are and all the evidence that we seem to think about we're trying to find. We have it now with the memo. Where are the motions to move on this? I don't see any. It's been weeks now. I just get a little disillusioned about the lack of action for our representatives when we have the evidence.
Well, I guess they're digesting it. Wouldn't that come from the Justice Department?
Well,
I would agree with you. I think
part of it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. What happens when the law enforcers are in on it?
Yeah, I almost thought maybe the NSA or there's got to be some type of special type of prosecution on this, but. Again, I think if it was on the other side of the fence, they would have found a way and moved on it by now. Look at the history. You have to look at the historical record. They move quickly when they think they have something. We move slowly. And I think sometimes that's what is the reason why we hired Trump in the first place. He doesn't. He usually moves quickly. But for some reason, it's still kind of slowing down to snail pace, even though we have the evidence.
Oh, I would agree with you. You give it to the libs. They don't mess around.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
And we need to start. I mean, I'm not saying I always have to play fire with fire, but when you have to be innocent as doves and wise as a serpent, I think the innocence has been already played out. We need to start getting wise and move. Otherwise, the base that we all believe that it doesn't matter how much evidence you have, but there's no conviction.
Sean, thank you for the call at KIDO Talk Radio.
Have a great morning.
Thank you, sir. I go back to Sean. Where are the indictments? We'll talk about it next. That's up next with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Let's go to Liberty Linda. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. You know, what a mess. You know, look what this memo has turned into. How long will this go on? Are we going to be fighting over this Russian thing 20 years from now?
Well, I think if they have their way when the president leaves office in 7 years, they'll still be trying to get him.
I think so, too. I mean, how it's been going on for a year. We thought, oh, okay, well, for the first month or so, all right, we'll listen to this. But it is truly unbelievable that we're still talking about it. And to me, it seems like much to do about nothing.
Well, I would agree with you, especially when we're finding out this memo that's released and everything else. It's just crazy.
I completely agree with you. It's crazy. I think we ought to forge forward and do the things that, let our president do the things that he has promised us, what he wants to do for us, and make our country great again.
Well, that's easier said than done when you got the libs.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it like a movie and we're just sitting here watching it and wondering what the Democrats are going to do, what the Republicans are going to do, and, you know, let's move on to a different movie.
I really think this reminds me of not the new politically correct Star Wars, but the old Star Wars where you had the good, which were, you know, the Jedi, and then you had the bad, where it was the Sith. And I think that the libs are the Sith, and they're trying to destroy all of us. We see it all the time.
I agree with you. Let's go on to a new movie. Something that's exciting to watch, at least.
Well, I think, unfortunately, this is the life that we're living. And, you know, for too long, and you can go back to President Bush, the first President Bush, then Clinton, then the other President Bush and Obama, they have tilted the country leftward. They've always been uncomfortable with grassroots conservatism. And here you have General Kelly talking about the DACAs. Look, if you didn't sign up for it, you're too lazy, you're too afraid, and too bad. You know, it's like our parents used to teach us. Actions or inactions have consequences. You know, with all due respect to the great young people here, Liberty Linda, you're actually, thank you very much for waking me up here this morning, but you've got me riffing here. I mean, I'm tired of people being, my feelings are hurt, I'm overly sensitive, okay? You know, John Kelly is a distinguished military guy. They got some mamby-pamby, wimpy dreamer on responding to him going, well, I don't think that's appropriate language. I don't think that's very sensitive. Who cares? What have you done with your life, buddy? And by the way, it's like a driver's license. If you don't have a driver's license, you shouldn't be on the road. If you're not a citizen, time to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was all with leaving these children here. You know, that's actually what they wanted to do. And you know, I mean, why can't we open our eyes and see what's going on in our own country? We love this country. We love our founding fathers. We love our Constitution, you know, and let's quit playing around. That's what I say.
I would agree.
And we love you, Kevin. You're wonderful. And I still want to vote for you to be the man of the year. I agree with that.
Well, thank you.
You're a great leader for us. And anyway, you know, the wonderful thing is you see through all this and all these strange things that's going on in our government. So, anyway.
Very strange, very strange.
Yeah, very strange. So anyway, thanks for letting us call in and voice our opinion. And your show is absolutely wonderful. Thanks so much. And let's hope that they get past this so we can do some real business in our country.
And not the monkey business.
Not the monkey business. No, we don't. We've had enough monkey business. Let's go on to something that's really going to be a benefit to the people here.
Well, I guess I'll see you Saturday.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I hope you like chocolate cake.
Well, you know, chocolate is supposed to be for the gods.
We'll have to find
so
one.
look
Yes.
what you've chosen. You know, chocolate's a good choice. What could be better than that? Chocolate for the gods.
Liberty Linda, you take care.
You as well, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Our great friend, Liberty Linda. Let's go to Ron Paul Jim with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. It's been a while. Good morning.
Morning, Kevin. I just want to comment on the question, why is it taking so long? Well, quite obvious to me that draining the swamp is both parties. We've got establishment politicians that like the status quo. They're not going to let we, the people, get their way. They want to be in control of the country, even if it means there'll be a minority status for the rest of their careers. They've all got dirt on them. They've all got leverage on them. They're all afraid of whoever, remember the Clintons talked about scorched earth. They had access to all the FBI background checks of all the politicians, everyone with security clearances, before they're even allowed into office. It's very rare that somebody gets in there like a Ron Paul, who's got integrity and who is not afraid of the system. Most of these people will go along with the party, whatever the party tells them, and they're not going to buck the system. And I think that's why Trey Gowdy is stepping out, because he's sick and tired of it.
Maybe they've got something on him.
I don't think so. Maybe they do. I don't know. It's very possible. But I honestly think that, they gave so much credibility to the criticism of Donald Trump running into the election. They really did not want him. And I think there's some truth that Jeb Bush started this investigation because the Bushes and the Clintons are two peas in the pot. They've been together since the late 70s, early 80s. Iran-Contra involved the governor of Arkansas and the head of the CIA, which was H.W. Bush. It runs way back. And these people have been doing this stuff. It's been a dynasty between these two groups. They've been, it was a sham election between Clinton and Bush. Bush then was never a politician before. He was the head of the CIA prior to being vice president. And then he ran Iran-Contra and the drug trafficking out of Mena, Arkansas. All this stuff is well documented. It goes way back. And look at what's come from that ever since. We've had a huge amount of, the technocratic system, which monitors everybody. It's not to catch criminals. It's not to catch terrorists. It's to thwart any rebellion against their power base. They want to take out any populist movement to take back our country. That's what they're after. They don't care about criminals. They don't care about drug trafficking. They don't care about any of that stuff. It's all campaign issues, and it's used to justify getting this system in place so that they, these secret courts. This is exactly what everybody warned us about. This is what, not everybody, but the people who are truly concerned about the abuse of power. Well, we just saw the abuse of power. They got caught, and they're still, on both sides trying to keep it from escalating. That's why they're dragging it out. That's why they're slowing it down, because they don't want this system to change. They want to be in control of the masses. That's all I got, Kevin.
What about the deep state?
That's it. You're looking at it. It's on both sides of the fence. They're together. They're both in on it. And then the rest of the politicians, they've got something on them, or they're afraid of them, or they've been sent a videotape of their family members saying, you want these people to live? Keep your mouth shut. There's plenty of it. And I'm sure that these people don't even get, they're vetting of a candidate for a position in power in Congress or anything like that. I guarantee it. They're probably looking for someone they got leverage over. And then they go and they promote that person. The party gets behind them because they control them. They don't want anybody from the grassroots. They don't want the people's choice. They want to choose it for you. I was a precinct committee man, and I actually experienced this stuff. They didn't want us to elect our candidate. They wanted to choose the candidate, and they wanted us to go out and campaign for them, like it or not. And that's in the GOP side.
Ron Paul, Jim, thank you, sir.
You bet.
All right. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Hank in Boise with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning. I'm going to talk briefly on the Constitutional Convention. George Mason, who was the one that put that provision in the Fifth Amendment for calling that, specifically put it in when Congress could tyrannize the people without any recourse to changing the Constitution or changing. There's no way the Congress is going to turn around and vote themselves term limits. There's no way the Congress is going to turn around and put in a balanced budget amendment. There's no way that the Congress is going to put limitations on the amount of taxation or percentage of taxation that the government can take from people. There's no way the Congress. And the problem with people who talk about not doing anything are basically promoting the status quo, and the status quo is unacceptable. We're in a post-constitutional state right now. To do nothing means that we're going to lose limited government anyway. In other words, they talk about the sky is falling because if we touch our Constitution, but the problem is we've already lost our Constitution under the present system. You're not facing the realities of it. Just like there needs to be limitations on the states have to have a mechanism for nullification of obviously unconstitutional laws such as Obamacare. There needs to be a mechanism in our system to put limitations on the courts.
Well, let's go back to the Constitutional Convention. Maybe that's it.
We need, you can put specific amendments down and basically have a mechanism. That's what the Fifth Amendment was all about, why George Mason put it in there in the Constitution and promoted it at the floor. I suggest just reading Plain Honest Men about the story that by if you want to read the reasoning behind the Fifth Amendment. Now, getting to my other point, I am bitterly disappointed with Jeff Sessions. The business of praising Mr. Rod Rosenstein, when Rosenstein knew that those FISA affidavits were false, makes him unacceptable to sit in his current position. And in fact, I think he's liable to criminal action. And for Mr. Jeff Sessions to praise this man and praise his career, to me, made me turn my stomach. I mean, this is totally unacceptable, and I'm bitterly disappointed in Jeff Sessions. But we need a new attorney general who will actually enforce the law, not play patty cake or worry about whether or not the press is going to write nasty things about him or my reputation, because it's going to get down and dirty with these people. And it's time that we start. The problem is our side is namby-pamby. The liberals are completely ruthless in going after what they want to get. They're at war with us. We're not at war with them, and we need to be at war with them. I mean, this is war, and our side doesn't seem to get it.
Our side won't get it because half of our side's with them.
Well, that's part of the problem too. I'm not going to deny that, but Jeff Sessions is. Trump needs to sooner or later make changes in the Attorney General's office. There needs to be a wholesale firing. There's other cast of characters in the Justice Department that need to go too, besides Rod Rosenstein. And this is an unacceptable situation.
Well, so you're still down on Jeff Sessions.
Yes, I am. I think he's a disappointment.
All right, our great friend Hank. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
More of your phone calls next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And talking about the deep state before 7 a.m., Our time is 6:52 at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Kevin. You know, Hank and Ron Paul Jim they're hitting it right on. They're hitting it out of the park, Kevin. We now have over 1 million laws written in this country. Our judicial system, whether we like it or not, has spent most of its time on getting and keeping the freedom of those that are guilty. And that now, unfortunately, is the whole mindset of Washington. You know, I mean, hey, the Clintons, they were notorious. They were very smart, very smart. They're notorious for understanding the law and knowing how to use it. And I think, and I'm hoping that that's where our Attorney General's at, that he's trying to build his cases. He's doing his investigation, but it has become so incredibly difficult. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now. Same question. Where are the indictments? At this point, I have to assume that that's he wants to have some very solid cases before he hands out the indictments. But I don't know that that's going to be an easy task, regardless of, just how smart the man is in reference to the law. So, Kevin, I don't know. Sure, we have a commander-in-chief that's really good at getting this stuff exposed, really good at it. But I don't know I don't know if he has sufficient follow-up here.
Well, I mean, the memo just came out. To Sean's point, I get it, but you're going to have to. How should we put this? Let it germinate for a while.
Yeah, there are more memos to come. We're told more, but what are they waiting on? I mean, are they waiting for us to rise up and rebel, grab our pitchforks, and run through the streets? Is that what it will take? I don't know. But certainly, I don't think there's
here's the deal. Let's say we're dealing in a small town. What happens if you try to arrest the police and the police are in on it?
Then you get twice the manpower and go arrest the police.
Right, but then who's going to watch the watchers?
Who's going to watch the watchers? Those that had the fortitude and the courage to stand up.
Sure, and that sounds nice, but who has the ability to do this? I mean, who has the what qualifies people to do that?
I think it'll come out of the woodwork if necessary, Kevin. I really do. There's still hope for the country. Again, we go back to the Con. We're an immoral people. How can we trust going into the Constitution? Well, I think there are moral people that they would stand up and they would stand right immediately on the front line and they would defend what is right, what is just, what is good. I really do believe that. But it will be painful in one respect or another. Will we do it? That remains to be seen. Will we need to do it? I'm starting to wonder. I really am. Again, what do we have in Washington, Kevin? Do we have everything that we need to make it right again? I don't know. I have hope. I don't want to go into the hope and change. Well, we'll see. We will see.
All right.
Well, young man, you have a good day.
I have your tickets for the gun forum.
Yes, I appreciate that. Can you bring them Saturday?
Sure, boss. I'll deliver.
Hey, thank you. Don't forget the pizza.
At David Buster's. Terry, thank you.
Buster. You have a good day.
You too. Always appreciate Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. 6:56 KIDO Talk Radio time. Time for traffic and weather together. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, much more of your calls. Let's see. Let's go to Arvell in Fruitland with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Arvell.
Good morning, Kevin. I think it's obvious by now that the left is trying to destroy our country and make it fit in with the godless world order. But there's something even bigger that we have to address that is going to have a greater impact on us. And that is, what does God do with a nation that legalizes the killing of the preborn babies and legalizes same-sex marriages, and drug use is pandemic, and domestic violence is increasing like crazy? I mean, those are things that we're going to have to address. And Jesus said that as in the days of Noah, so shall it be when he returns. And he'll return to bring judgment on the earth. And in the days of Noah, there's a lot of violence and immorality. So we've got some serious problems that can only be dealt with in a getting right with God. We need to get back more to God than we do to the Constitution. And I believe that America, by going the way of Sodom, will be as Sodom if we don't change. And in Jude 7, Sodom was used or given as a warning to those who do the same. And so I'm really concerned that we're in deep trouble, and we need to turn back to God. That's all I have to say.
Well, that would be refreshing if we did, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be. Yes.
Well, you know what he says, be not afraid, I go before you always.
That's right. If he's going before us, we got to follow.
God bless you, Arvell.
Bless you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. More of your phone calls, Max Pro-Life, and you hang on. More coming up, Fox News next. We're just getting started. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.